Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most exciting topics for coin collectors and treasure hunters. We'll break down what makes these coins so special, how much they're worth in today's market, and what you need to know to sell them successfully at auction. So let's get started. First up, the 1952 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny with D mint mark was produced at the Denver Mint during a prosperous post-war era in American history. This coin continues the long-running wheat cent series, which was first issued in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. By 1952, the design had already become a beloved classic, symbolizing the nation's admiration for Lincoln's leadership and values. Though this specific coin is described as being in fully damaged condition with visible scratches, it still holds collectible and historical interest for coin enthusiasts who appreciate vintage U.S. currency. Turning to the reverse, the coin features the traditional wheat ears design that gives the wheat penny its name. Two stylized wheat stalks frame the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America, with the Latin motto E pluribus unum appearing above. On this coin, the wheat ears are likely faint and lacking detail, with the inner surfaces showing signs of damage and corrosion. Even so, the classic layout remains visible, and for many collectors, the charm of such a coin lies in its survival through decades of use rather than its perfection. The 1952 D wheat penny was struck in huge numbers, over 746 million pieces, so it is not rare in the numismatic market. However, collectors still prize these coins for completing Lincoln cent sets and as examples of mid-20th century American coinage. Like most wheat pennies of its time, it was composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. Over time, exposure to air and moisture often causes the surface to darken or develop uneven coloring, which may be described as brown, red-brown, or even blackened in areas. The dirty and scratched condition of this coin gives it the look of an old survivor, an artifact of American commerce from an earlier age. During 1952, pennies like this circulated widely in an economy that was thriving after World War II. They were used in everyday purchases, from candy to newspapers, and even the simplest coin played a role in daily life. The durability of the bronze alloy ensured these coins could last decades in circulation, and many like this one did, accumulating wear, dents, and scratches along the way. Each mark adds character and makes the coin a unique piece of numismatic history. In today's collector market, the value of a 1952 D Lincoln wheat penny depends heavily on its condition. A coin in full damage condition, like the one described, typically has only a nominal value, often around 0.1 to 0.23, essentially its face value. Even so, such coins are appreciated for their historical interest. In higher grades, values can increase significantly. Very fine specimens often sell for about 0.10 to 0.15s, and uncirculated examples with original red luster may fetch between $1 and $3, depending on eye appeal. Although this particular 1952 D penny shows heavy damage and wear, it still represents a small piece of U.S. history, an enduring tribute to President Lincoln and the artistic excellence of early 20th century coin design. Each imperfection tells part of its long journey through the hands of Americans over the decades. While its market value may be low, its sentimental and historical worth remains priceless for those who collect with an appreciation for story and legacy rather than rarity alone. The 1944 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny with the S mint mark was struck at the San Francisco Mint during one of the most eventful decades in U.S. history. This coin belongs to the iconic wheat penny series designed by Victor David Brenner and carries the image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, 82T, design that has become one of the most enduring symbols of American coinage. The 1944 S penny is particularly Interesting because it marked the return to the traditional bronze alloy after the one-year use of steel in 1943 during World War II. For collectors and historians alike, this coin represents both a piece of art and a glimpse into America's wartime resilience. On the reverse, the coin showcases the famous wheat ears design, with two curved stalks of wheat framing the central inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. Above them is the motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one. Although this coin shows moderate wear, the wheat stalks remain partly visible, and the lettering is clear despite a few scratches across the surface. The background fields may have developed a darker shade from age and handling, but the overall look remains appealing and authentic. Even in circulated condition, the 1944 S penny has a classic vintage charm that makes it desirable to collectors. The 1944 S Lincoln cent is composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, a return to the pre-war bronze composition after the experimental 1943 steel pennies were discontinued. The San Francisco Mint produced over 282 million of these coins, making the 1944 S a common issue overall. However, examples in better condition or with exceptional color and luster can still attract collector interest. Because copper coins naturally darken over time, a coin like this one, showing warm brown color with reddish highlights, reflects natural toning and honest circulation. From a historical perspective, the 1944 S penny was part of a generation of coins that circulated during the final stages of World War II. During this period, the U.S. Mint was under pressure to produce vast amounts of coinage for a booming wartime economy. Each cent played a role in everyday transactions, from buying newspapers and candy to saving in war bond drives. Holding a 1944 S penny today is like holding a tangible connection to that defining era, when small coins carried the hopes and labor of millions of Americans contributing to victory and rebuilding. In today's collector market, the 1944 S Lincoln wheat penny in good condition with some scratches generally holds modest but steady value. Common examples like this one usually sell for around 0.05 to 0.15. Coins in very fine condition can bring 0.5 to 0.40, and extremely fine pieces may sell for up to 0.75. Uncirculated coins, especially those retaining their original red luster, can command higher values ranging from $2 to $4 or more, depending on their brilliance and eye appeal. While circulated coins like this are not rare, their history and authenticity continue to make them desirable to collectors and hobbyists. Next up, the 1947 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, a facility known for striking coins without any identifying mint mark during this era. This coin carries the timeless image of President Abraham Lincoln on its obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner, and continues the famous wheat penny series that ran from 1909 until 1958. The 1947 issue represents a post-war era coin, minted during a time when the United States was thriving economically after World War II. Though common, this coin is a cherished collectible because of its historical significance, craftsmanship, and enduring connection to one of the most admired presidents in American history. Turning to the reverse, the coin displays the classic wheat ears design, two stylized wheat stalks curving along the sides and framing the bold inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. Above these is the national motto, E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one. On this coin, the wheat details are slightly flattened from wear, and the surface shows light scratches, a common sign of honest use in circulation. The color shade of the reverse, like the obverse, gives it a vintage look, making the coin visually appealing despite its age. The 1947 Lincoln wheat penny was struck in large quantities. Over 190 million coins were minted in Philadelphia alone. Because of its high mintage, it is not considered rare, but it remains a staple in most Lincoln cent collections. The coin's metal composition is 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, the same bronze alloy used for most wheat pennies. Over time, copper coins develop varying shades of color depending on storage and environmental exposure. The color shading on this coin enhances its collectible charm, giving it a warm, antique tone that many collectors appreciate. In good condition, a 1947 penny like this one still carries historical and educational value. It serves as a tangible reminder of post-war America, a time when pennies were commonly used in everyday transactions, and each coin passed through countless hands. These small, ordinary pieces of currency played a large role in daily life, symbolizing economic strength and continuity in a changing world. Even with scratches or signs of age, every 1947 penny tells a story of its journey across decades of American history. As for its current market value, a 1947 Lincoln wheat penny, without a mint, mark in good condition with light scratches, typically sells for around $0.05 to $0.10. Coins that have retained stronger details and richer color tones may bring 0.15 to 0.25, while higher-grade examples in very fine or extremely fine condition can be worth between $0.30 and 0.75. Uncirculated specimens with original red luster can fetch $200 to $4 or more, depending on eye appeal and preservation. While circulated coins like this one hold modest monetary value, they remain sought after for their place in the story of American coinage. The scratches, color shade, and mild wear on this 1947 wheat penny do not diminish its appeal. They highlight its authenticity and long life in circulation. It stands as a classic piece of mid-century U.S. history, admired not for rarity, but for endurance. In today's market, a 1947 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in good condition with a distinctive color shade and some scratches is valued around 5 to 10 cents. Though modest in price, it represents a lasting tribute to American heritage, craftsmanship, and the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln. Next up, the 1909 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is one of the most significant coins in U.S. history, marking the very first year of the Lincoln cent series. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, this coin introduced a new era in American coinage, replacing the long-running Indian head cent and becoming the first regular-issue U.S. coin to feature the image of a real person, President Abraham Lincoln. Designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner, the coin quickly became a symbol of national pride and respect for one of America's greatest leaders. This particular example, in fine condition with some scratches, carries not just numismatic value, but also historical importance as one of the earliest Lincoln cents ever produced. The 1909 Lincoln wheat penny was a revolutionary issue when it first appeared. It replaced the Indian head design that had circulated for half a century and brought a fresh, modern look to America's smallest denomination. The coin's release coincided with the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, which made it an instant success with the public. Millions of Americans admired its design and significance, though controversy briefly arose over the inclusion of the designer's initials VDB on the reverse. Early in the production run, the initials were removed, creating two distinct types, the 1909 VDB and the 1909 without VDB. This coin, lacking those initials, represents the later type struck in Philadelphia after the change. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 72 million of these 1909 cents without the VDB initials, so while the coin is not rare, it remains highly collectible because of its first-year status. The composition is 95% copper with 5% tin and zinc, a classic bronze alloy that gives the coin its rich brown tone. Over more than a century, most surviving examples have developed a dark, even patina, an expected and desirable trait for early copper coins. This example's fine condition shows honest wear from circulation, but preserves the major details of the design, making it a strong representative of its type. From a historical perspective, the 1909 Lincoln Wheat Penny is a tangible link to an era of profound change in America. It emerged just after the turn of the century, during a time of industrial progress, reform movements, and growing national unity. The choice to feature Lincoln, born humble, self-taught, and remembered as the great emancipator, reflected the country's admiration for his leadership and moral strength. The coin quickly became one of the most recognized designs in U.S. history, and remains so today, more than 115 years after its creation. In today's coin market, the value of a 1909 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark depends largely on condition and surface quality. In average circulated grades such as good or very good, these coins typically sell for around $0.50 to $1. In fine condition, like this example with light scratches, the value generally ranges from $1.50 to $3. Coins with slightly better surfaces or richer color may fetch a bit more, while uncirculated red examples can command prices from $15 to $30 or higher, depending on their appearance and certification by grading services. Next up, the 1942 Abraham Lincoln Wheat Penny, with the D Mint mark, was struck at the Denver Mint during a pivotal time in U.S. history, as the nation was preparing for full involvement in World War II. Despite being a small 1-cent coin, it represents a meaningful piece of America's wartime economy and a continuation of the iconic Lincoln Wheat Cent series designed by Victor David Brenner. On the obverse, the coin features the famous portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, symbolizing unity and perseverance. Values deeply important during the 1940s. The 1942 D issue is one of the more common dates of the Wheat Penny series, yet its red color shade and good preservation make it an appealing collectible for coin enthusiasts. This coin, being in fine to good condition with a few scratches, shows clear and well-defined details on Lincoln's face, hair, and clothing, though with light wear from circulation. The D Mint mark, located below the date on the right side of the obverse, remains visible and sharp enough to identify. The inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1942 remain legible, though slightly softened by handling over the decades. The red color shade of the coin suggests that it has retained some of its original copper luster, a sign that the coin has been well cared for or stored in a stable environment. The reddish tone gives it a bright and attractive appearance, setting it apart from the typical brown or darker tones seen in heavily circulated wheat pennies. Over 206 million 1942 D Lincoln Wheat Pennies were minted, making it a common coin in terms of mintage. However, its condition, color, and eye appeal can significantly affect its desirability and value. The composition of the 1942 D cent remains the classic pre-war bronze alloy of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. During the war, this composition would temporarily change in 1943 to steel, but the 1942 issues retained the traditional reddish copper appearance. Coins that have aged gracefully in red or red-brown shades tend to command higher premiums in the collector market, as they indicate better preservation of the original mint brilliance. The historical context adds further fascination to this coin. The 1942 D penny circulated during one of the most transformative periods in American history. Every cent mattered, as citizens supported the war effort through savings and rationing. The coin is more than metal. It's a silent witness to that era, passed through the hands of soldiers' families, factory workers, and children collecting for war bonds. Each nick and scratch represents its journey through decades of use and preservation. In terms of market value, the 1942 D Lincoln Wheat Penny, in fine to good condition with a red color shade and some scratches, typically ranges between 0.10 and 0.25 in today's coin market. If the coin retains more red brilliance and fewer signs of wear, it may be worth around $0.30 to $0.50. Coins in extremely fine or almost uncirculated condition can fetch between $0.75 and $2, while uncirculated red examples with full luster may bring $3 to $6 or even higher depending on grade and visual appeal. Collectors are often willing to pay more for coins that maintain a strong red tone since it indicates less oxidation and a closer appearance to the coin's original mint state. Next up, the 1920 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark was produced at the Philadelphia Mint and represents one of the early 20th century issues of the beloved Wheat Cent series. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this coin features the timeless image of Abraham Lincoln, first introduced in 1909 to commemorate his 100th birthday. The 1920 issue bridges two significant eras, coming after World War I and during a time of major industrial growth in America. As a result, each surviving coin carries both historical and artistic importance. This particular example, in extra fine condition with some scratches, displays much of its original detail and remains a strong collectible piece in today's market. Turning to the reverse, the coin features Brenner's famous wheat ears design, two gracefully curved stalks of wheat along the sides, framing the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. At the top appears the national motto, A pluribus unum, Latin for out of many, one. In extra fine condition, the wheat lines are still visible with minor smoothing near the tips, and all inscriptions remain sharp and legible. The surface shows faint scratches, likely from years of light handling, but maintains a clean and even appearance. The warm copper color and smooth texture give the coin an antique yet elegant look, showing how beautifully early copper coinage can age when well preserved. The 1920 Lincoln wheat penny was struck in large numbers. Over 310 million were minted in Philadelphia that year. The coin is composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, the same bronze alloy used for most wheat pennies before 1943. Copper coins from this era often develop unique tones over time, and collectors value the rich patina that comes with age. While the 1920 issue is not rare, examples in extra fine condition are becoming scarcer as most surviving coins show heavier wear from decades of circulation. From a historical standpoint, the 1920 Lincoln cent circulated during a period of major transformation in the United States. The country had recently emerged from World War I and was entering the Roaring Twenties, a decade of innovation, economic growth, and social change. Pennies like this one played an important role in everyday commerce, used to buy newspapers, candy, and stamps, and were a part of daily life for millions of Americans. Each surviving coin, especially one as well preserved as this, serves as a small but tangible link to that fascinating era of American history. In today's market, the value of a 1920 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark depends largely on its condition, color, and surface quality. In average circulated grades, these coins typically sell for about 0/10 to 0.20s. However, an extra fine example such as this one, even with some scratches, generally ranges from 0.50 to 1 €1 in retail value. Coins with stronger red-brown coloration or fewer marks can fetch up to 1.50 or slightly more. Uncirculated red specimens in pristine condition may be worth between $5 and $10 or higher, depending on their eye appeal and certification by a grading service. Although the monetary value of this 1920 penny is modest, its significance as a piece of history makes it a worthwhile collectible. The scratches and light wear only add character, serving as reminders of the many hands through which it passed. Its extra fine condition means that much of Brenner's original artistry remains intact, allowing collectors and enthusiasts to appreciate the fine craftsmanship of early U.S. mint production. Each feature, from Lincoln's profile to the graceful wheat ears, tells a story of skill, endurance, and national pride. Next up, the 1953 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the final years before the end of the wheat cent design. This coin remains a nostalgic and collectible piece of mid-20th century U.S. coinage, representing a period of post-war optimism and economic stability. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln Wheat Penny series honored the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth and became one of the most recognized and beloved coin designs in American history. The 1953 issue carries this legacy forward with classic artistry and enduring charm. The 1953 wheat penny is composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, the standard bronze composition used for most pennies of the era. Because copper reacts naturally to its environment, the coin's color can vary from bright red to deep brown, depending on exposure to air and moisture. A red-brown or slightly reddish coin like this one suggests it has been stored well and retains some of its original brilliance. Even with scratches, its extra fine grade shows that it avoided heavy wear and still carries strong historical character. From a historical perspective, this coin circulated during a vibrant time in American life. The early 1950s were years of technological progress and social change. Coins like the 1953 penny were used daily for newspapers, candy, postage, and small purchases, passing through countless hands and memories. Each surviving coin tells a quiet story of that era, of daily commerce, family savings, and the enduring trust in the nation's currency. The familiar face of Lincoln on the obverse served as a reminder of leadership and integrity, values that resonated with Americans then as much as they do today. In today's collector market, the 1953 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark holds steady value, influenced primarily by condition and color. In average circulated condition, these coins usually sell for around 0.05 to 0.10 centiles. However, in extra fine condition like this one, even with some scratches, the coin's value typically ranges between 0.25 and 0.50. Well-preserved pieces with richer red or red-brown luster may command prices closer to 0.75. Uncirculated examples with strong red color and minimal marks can bring $2 to $4, and coins graded mint state red by professional services can reach higher prices depending on demand and eye appeal. The scratches present on this coin do little to reduce its appeal, as they are common on older copper pieces. Instead, they serve as gentle reminders of its journey through history, proof that it once played a role in the daily rhythm of American life. The extra fine details, strong surfaces, and warm color tone make it an attractive addition for any collector building a complete wheat penny set or simply appreciating the artistry of vintage coinage. Next up, the 1939 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark was produced at the Philadelphia Mint and stands as a classic example of pre-World War II American coinage. It belongs to the enduring wheat penny series designed by Victor David Brenner, first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. By 1939, the design had already become deeply ingrained in American culture, with Lincoln's image symbolizing unity, freedom, and integrity. This particular coin, being in very fine condition with some scratches, offers a beautiful glimpse into U.S. history, bearing clear details that speak of careful circulation and preservation through the decades. Turning to the reverse, the coin displays the traditional wheat ears design, with two curved stalks framing the inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. Above these appears the motto, E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one. In very fine condition, much of the wheat grain detail remains visible, though slightly softened. The lettering is strong and legible, and the coin's surface retains a pleasant texture, with a few light scratches that tell its story of circulation. The reverse's color complements the obverse with a consistent brown shade, showing the natural patina that collectors often value for its authenticity and vintage appeal. The 1939 Lincoln wheat penny was struck in large quantities, with over 316 million coins minted in Philadelphia alone. It was composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, a bronze alloy used for most wheat pennies before the steel issue of 1943. Because copper coins are prone to oxidation, many surviving examples have darkened over time. But those in very fine condition, like this one, often show a balanced tone that adds character and depth. Collectors appreciate such coins for their combination of wear and detail, a sign of both circulation history and preservation. Historically, the 1939 Lincoln cent circulated during a time of transition in America. The Great Depression was coming to an end, and the world was on the brink of World War II. Every penny carried meaning in an economy still rebuilding its strength. Coins like this one passed through the hands of workers, families, and merchants, serving as both currency and symbol of national stability. Holding a 1939 wheat penny today is like holding a piece of that resilient spirit. A simple coin that survived the decades to remind us of the enduring value of hard work and perseverance. In terms of today's market, the value of a 1939 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark in very fine condition depends on color tone, surface quality, and eye appeal. A circulated coin with moderate wear and some scratches, typically, sells for around 0.20 to 0.40. Coins with slightly better detail or richer color may fetch between $50 and $75. Extremely fine examples often range from $100 to $200, while uncirculated red specimens can command $300 to $500 or more, depending on brightness and preservation. Although not rare, the 1939 issue remains popular with collectors completing date and mint mark sets of the wheat cent series. Even with its minor scratches, this coin maintains its charm and historical importance. Its well-preserved details, warm tone, and balanced wear make it an appealing mid-grade example that reflects decades of careful handling. Every mark and tone variation tells a small part of its story, a journey from the Philadelphia Mint through generations of everyday life in America. It is a tangible reminder of the craftsmanship and history that define U.S. coinage. Next up, the 1949 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny with the D mint mark was produced at the Denver Mint, a facility known for high-quality coinage throughout the mid-20th century. This coin continues the long-running Lincoln wheat cent series designed by Victor David Brenner, which honored President Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday and remained in production from 1909 to 1958. The 1949 D issue reflects post-war America, an era marked by economic recovery, industrial growth, and renewed confidence. Though not rare, this coin remains a favorite among collectors for its beauty, craftsmanship, and place in the historical timeline of U.S. coinage. The obverse of the 1949 D penny features the familiar right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," along the upper rim, "Liberty" to the left, and the date 1949 followed by the small D mint mark to the right. Because this coin is in fine condition, most of the design elements remain clear, though some wear can be seen on Lincoln's hair, cheek, and jawline. The high points of the bust are slightly smooth, and minor scratches across the surface indicate light circulation use. Still, the overall appearance remains attractive and well-defined, maintaining the warm brown tone typical of aged copper coins. The edges are slightly softened but intact, showing no major damage beyond normal handling marks. The 1949 D wheat penny was minted in large numbers. More than 153 million coins were struck in Denver that year. Its metal composition consists of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, the standard bronze alloy used for pennies before 1962. Because of copper's natural tendency to tone and darken with age, this coin's color has likely deepened into a rich brown shade over time. The reddish undertones that remain indicate that it has been stored reasonably well, protected from excessive oxidation. Collectors value this balanced appearance, as it captures both the history and the preserved beauty of mid-century American coinage. Historically, the 1949 D penny circulated during a time of great prosperity in the United States. The post-war boom brought new industries, consumer products, and growth in every sector. A simple penny had purchasing power, used daily for newspapers, candy, postage, and savings jars. Each 1949 D cent that survived into the modern day carries with it decades of history, symbolizing endurance through time. Its scratches and minor marks serve as proof of an active past, perhaps handled by children learning to count coins, or saved in pocket change across the early years of modern America. In today's coin market, the value of the 1949 D Lincoln wheat penny in fine condition depends on its appearance, color tone, and overall eye appeal. A circulated example with visible details and some scratches typically sells for around $0.10 to $0.20. Coins in very fine condition may bring $0.25 to $0.40, while extremely fine examples can be worth $0.50 to $0.75. Higher-grade uncirculated red examples, showing full mint luster, can range from $2 to $40 or more. Although the fine condition places this particular coin in a lower value range, it still holds importance as a collectible piece from an era that shaped modern American coinage. Even with scratches and moderate wear, the 1949 D Lincoln wheat penny remains a meaningful relic of history. Its survival in fine condition reflects care and durability, a testament to the quality of Denver mint production. For collectors, this coin fills an essential place in the wheat cent series, bridging the years between World War II and the modern Lincoln Memorial design that followed in 1959. Its warm brown tone, classic wheat design, and dignified image of Abraham Lincoln make it a timeless representation of America's heritage. The 1951 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny with an S mint mark is a fascinating mid-century issue that continues to attract collectors for its classic design and warm, vintage character. Struck at the San Francisco Mint, this coin carries both historical and aesthetic appeal, representing the post-war era when the United States was transitioning from recovery to prosperity. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse features the iconic bust of Abraham Lincoln facing right, surrounded by the inscriptions, "In God We Trust" above, "Liberty" to the left, and the date 1951 with a small S mint mark just below. This particular coin, described as having a red color shade but in dirty condition with some scratches, shows honest circulation wear, yet retains the charm and detail that make wheat pennies timeless collectibles. The coin's red tone suggests it has preserved some of its original mint luster beneath the layer of age and dirt. When newly struck, Lincoln cents from this period exhibited a bright red finish, the result of their 95% copper composition mixed with 5% tin and zinc. Over time, exposure to air and handling naturally darkened their surfaces, but traces of red color still shine through in certain lighting, giving this example a visually interesting character. The obverse design, even with dirt and scratches, remains recognizable. Lincoln's facial features and hair are clear enough to identify, and the lettering is distinct, showing that the coin is worn evenly rather than harshly. The 1951 S penny was struck during a period of strong coin production. The San Francisco Mint produced more than 136 million of these coins, ensuring they were widely distributed throughout the western United States. While not a rare issue in terms of mintage, its appeal comes from condition and color. Red or red-brown specimens with original luster are more desirable than fully brown or heavily tarnished examples. Even a circulated piece, like this one with red highlights and surface marks, has collector interest because of its aesthetic warmth and connection to an era that many Americans remember fondly. Numismatically, the 1951 wheat penny belongs to the later years of the wheat cent design, which would be replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse in 1959. As such, it represents one of the final chapters in a coinage tradition that began in 1909 and spanned half a century. The San Francisco Mint, known for its high-quality strikes and distinctive S mark, played a major role in supplying the Western economy, making these coins a regional favorite. The small S beneath the date stands as a subtle but meaningful mark for collectors seeking variety in their Lincoln cent sets. In terms of composition, this penny retains the classic bronze alloy that gives it its reddish hue. The coin's copper content allows it to tone beautifully over time, shifting between red, brown, and sometimes even hints of purple, depending on storage conditions. The dirt and surface scratches noted on this example suggest it has seen real circulation, but not neglect. Its details are still visible, and it carries a natural patina that adds authenticity. When evaluating the coin's market value, condition plays a crucial role. In the coin grading scale, a dirty coin with fine details and scratches typically falls into the good to fine range, while those with sharper features and remaining red luster might reach very fine or extremely fine. Based on this description, red color shade, dirty surface, and visible scratches, this 1951 wheat penny would likely grade around fine condition. In today's collector market, such coins generally sell for around $0.10 to $0.25 each. Higher-grade examples with more visible red luster can command values from $0.50 up to $2.20, while fully uncirculated red specimens certified by grading services may reach $10 or more. Beyond its monetary value, this coin is a tangible reminder of American history and craftsmanship. It carries the image of Lincoln, a symbol of integrity and perseverance, on a design that millions of Americans carried in their pockets for generations. The dirt and scratches are not flaws, but evidence of a coin that served its purpose, changing hands in everyday life for over 70 years. In today's market, the 1951 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny in red color shade, though dirty and scratched, remains an appealing collectible. Its estimated value ranges between 10 and 25 cents, depending on eye appeal and preservation, but its sentimental and historical worth is far greater. It stands as a lasting piece of mid-century America, a reminder of simpler times when even a single penny had both purchasing power and pride.